As the voting began this past Tuesday, I mean, like literally as the voting began, and in some cases even before voting started, Republicans out there were already crying, fraud! Oh no, there's voting machines problems in Maricopa County. Of course, they're trying to steal it. That's not what happened. Everybody that was waiting to vote did get to vote. There was no attempt to steal because that's not a thing that actually happens. But Republicans were so desperate to write off a lot of their losses that, of course, they said, oh, it was shenanigans again. The Democrats, who are so incompetent and terrible at everything, apparently are experts, like we're some kind of savants at stealing elections. Didn't happen. And one person on the conservative side who wants to make it clear to his party that this didn't happen is conservative radio host John Fredericks, who on Wednesday, when a caller called in talking about how the election was not stolen, Fredericks expounded upon that and said, you're right, it wasn't. We did this to ourselves. So here's what happened. This caller, who by the way happened to be a Virginia election official, called in to Fredericks' conservative radio show and said this. I just want to let all the people who are calling in about the machines now, I'm one of those guys too. I was able to ask questions and I was able to identify the entire process, and what I saw was a very clean process. I validated the count from the machines, and I'm aware of what goes on, and I have to question now, is it the machines? What I did see yesterday was a massive turnout of Democrats. All I hear is Republicans are game day, game day. And at that point, Fredericks interjected and he said, everything you're saying is true. You were there, you validated the vote, no one was changing algorithms with servers on the moon, right? That didn't happen. But look, it's what we wanted to do, and now you're paying the price for this. And he continued, we did this to ourselves. Now, when Fredericks says we did this to ourselves, of course, what he's talking about is we put up bad candidates. Now, again, Republicans are still poised to take back the House, and as the votes continue to come in and get counted, that'll probably happen. Probably. It may not, but we'll see. But it's the other candidates, right? It's the people at the state level. Republicans thought they were going to sweep a bunch of states, and they didn't. They thought they were going to take control of enough states basically to swing the next presidential election if anything fishy happened. They didn't. And the reason they didn't is because they put up lunatics. Mastriano and Kari Lake, of course, are the two that stand out more than anyone. And those were Trump-backed people, Trump-picked people. And they went down in flames. Like, they didn't just lose, they lost pretty damn bad. They exceeded the polling expectations of how bad they were going to lose. And the best part about what Mr. John Fredericks has to say here about we did this to ourselves is that neither he nor anyone else in his party is going to learn anything from this. That's the best part. These idiots are going to look at this and be like, oh my God, we screwed up. We need introspection. We need to figure this out. And then at the end of the day, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to change who they are. They're not going to run different types of candidates in the future. They looked at it, they saw they got their asses kicked, and they're going to be like, well, I guess we'll just do it again. And maybe next time it will work. Who knows? The public, they'll vote for anybody, it seems. I think Herschel Walker in Georgia is a good example of that. But they will learn nothing. They know they did wrong. They admit we did this to ourselves. But they'll walk away without having learned a single lesson, and I promise you in 2 years, they're going to do it again.
This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.